Welcome to Concussion Podcast. I'm talking to Mack Hancock, and I will get started talking to him in a second. But first, he's been at Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. But and he's with the Concussion Legacy Foundation chapter there. But we'll talk in a second. First, I'll introduce my sponsor, Head Check Health. Head Check Health bridges gaps in concussion care through simple, powerful technology. Join organizations like the Canadian Football League, Track Factory Racing, the Canadian Junior Hockey League, Eastern Washington University, and Volleyball Canada. Rely on HeadCheck to improve communication and optimize care. Visit headcheckhealth.com for more. Again, my speech there is mobile, it's careful. But welcome to the podcast, Mac, and thanks. And you said you just got back from Halifax last night. Or
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick. Yeah, I was
yeah,
on.
so just introduce yourself and why you okay, first of all why you're introduce yourself and your interesting questions.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick. So my name is Mac. I am a third year neuroscience student at Dalhousie. So my interest from concussions started from playing hockey and getting a few concussions myself.
Yeah.
I ended up having a handful in about a year and a half, and ended up stopping playing hockey, which was a tough situation for me then, just because I played forever since then. So it was definitely a change in pace in life, and ever since then, I've just kind of been interested in the ins and outs of concussion. It got me interested in studying neuroscience and just kind of all the things that involve with concussion, since lots of people don't really know unless they've had one what it truly is like. So yeah,
So you actually started neuroscience your degree because you had concussions previously. So that's I'm getting to know Mac as you all are now. So you barely talk about Grant, except for the complaint about the gold. Well, I did really, he didn't. But yeah, but so would you got to Dalhousie, which is 3 years ago now. Was there any concussion program or group that you felt you needed to join or you wanted to join?
so when I got here, not that I knew of, I just started the Concussion Legacy Foundation chapter just before Christmas, so not too long ago. I had a
Yeah.
friend who started one at Guelph this year, and I already had known of the Concussion Legacy Foundation. Actually, over the pandemic, my brother and I started a little apparel brand, and we donated some of our profits to the Concussion Legacy Foundation. So I'd always known of them and known about the work they do, and just decided to be a good fit to start that chapter, and something I agree with and interested in learning more about. So yeah, it was great to start that chapter here, and it's been had some good reviews so far, and it's been fun being able to present to kids and teach them about concussion so far.
So you got training from because we're actually our Brain Injury Association in Atlanta Lab or NLBA is doing starting out doing the educational with concussion activation, the educational program for hopefully for schools. They haven't really talked to anybody yet there, but youth at least in sports clubs. But so you took the training from them to tell us about the what's there. Did you go by your own what you knew about concussion through firsthand and through from neuroscience?
So a bit of both really. So yeah, the Concussion Legacy Foundation does a good job of meeting with all the chapter presidents, and we do a little bit of training for the presentation they have us do. But then I've also have learned a lot about concussion just from my own interest and my own experience with them. So those presentations were trained for them, but I also do have a little bit of personal examples and feedback in it. So it's nice to kind of present about my interests and also keep learning about it as I do.
Do you mind talking about your any of your obviously you don't because you talk to kids, but your some of those experiences. So
Yeah, for sure.
your first one, say.
Yeah, so I had um, three concussions in about a year and a half when I was playing junior hockey in Western Canada. The first couple, I was out for about a month time. They were probably standard symptoms, headache, stuff like that. And then the third one was more of a major one where I was out a few months, came back to playing, felt good. And then that next summer of training for hockey again, I had a lot of symptoms, and symptoms came back, and it was really tough to train and um, get ready for the next season. And then I had supposed to go to college in the States for hockey, and when I got there, I had some concussion testing that kind of increased my symptoms again, and couldn't really get away from those. So I decided it was probably best to stop playing and focus on my long-term health. So it was a tough decision, but
Okay.
still happy I made it, and it's nice to be feeling good with no
Do you
symptoms
play,
anymore.
say, like non-contact? Do you play like non-contact hockey now, or just for
I
like
haven't for a bit.
any variation of hockey?
For a bit, I helped just like instruct like kids
Yeah.
and skills and stuff like that, but I haven't got back into it myself yet. I'm sure I will though. First I wasn't really keen on it, but I've been getting the itch a bit lately, and I'm sure I will probably join some men's league or something eventually.
You know, checking man's league, or just, I mean, they just know you don't mind the checking or the contact. It's just the you want to get out there and skate and play with the puck and stuff, but like, do you hesitate because of the contact, or because of your own symptoms?
I'll probably stay away from the contact. I don't have any symptoms anymore, so it's not much of a worry of mine, but I probably will just stay away from it just in case. So yeah, I'll probably just stay more this the playing and out of a contact league.
So you started the Concussion Legacy chapter in at Dalhousie. So is it just you now?
No, so we've got about 10, 12 members now. A lot of people were very interested in joining, so it's just kind of getting off the ground a bit now. We had a presentation last week was our first one, and we're trying to get a few more initiatives going with it. One
Nice.
of the things I started with it was kind of Edie, who I think you know, who runs the chapters
Yeah,
at the
Eddie.
foundation. Yeah,
Yeah,
she talked about how when she ran it at U of T, she did a podcast, so that kind of got me
yeah.
interested in that. So I've started a
Yeah, she
podcast
was
with it
good.
as well.
It's
Yeah.
fun. So that's why I was gonna ask you why you started the podcast, but Eddie kind of said like they're fun, and so so yeah, I seen one. You had Nick Scheller or Jeff Scheller or somebody. Yeah, New York doctor. Where's the name from?
John Letty.
John. Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. Who did you talk to? You talked to somebody from New York, didn't you?
Oh, New York talked to a neurosurgeon resident there.
Yeah, that's what it's
Um,
called.
yeah, so that was my first one, and then I've done a few more since then. But it's been really cool getting to meet some cool people and see what they do, wrote about
Nice.
concussions and their experience.
So what? So you said you got 12 people, 10 to 12, and I'm sure the volunteers are not exactly they're not going to be like as regular as others. But do you who how did you meet them? How did you get them? Was it all through Nerds Notice and stuff, or did you put out a notice saying I'm looking for people who want to volunteer with this, and just spare students showing interest in that?
Yeah, a lot of it was through social media, just posting interest forms, and a lot of people reached out pretty quick. A lot of them, yeah, are also neuroscience, but there's some medical science students, some former students, some physio students that are interested in it. A lot of them have some personal experience with it, whether it's through themselves having concussion or just family members, friends who had concussions. So it's cool to get a bunch of people who are interested in the same kind of topics as me and kind of hear
Yeah.
what they have to say about it too.
Nice. So yeah, that's all. It's not just undergrad. It's undergrad, graduate. It's everybody from all levels
It's
of
mostly
staff.
undergrad, but there's a couple postgrads in it as
Yeah.
well. But for the most part, it's undergrads.
Okay. And you said you had one presentation. So
Yeah,
who is that to, and how did it go?
it was great. It was a group of grade sevens and eights, just at a local school in Halifax here, and um, it went very well. The Concussion Legacy Foundation has a presentation platform for us already set
Yeah.
up. So we go and do about a 30, 40 minute presentation, talk about kind of what a concussion is, a little bit of the science of it, and then some kind of real world examples that they can relate to. Like we talked about Sidney Crosby's concussions, who a lot of the students out here in Halifax obviously know who he is as a
Yeah.
prominent NHL player. So they're interested in that, and it went really well. A lot of kids asking questions too, which is good to get them thinking about it and get more educated on
I
it.
was gonna ask you about that. So the questions, like, I mean, it's grade 7 so they don't know a lot about concussions.
Yeah.
But what kind of questions did they ask you?
Yeah, so a lot of them, it's just probably even older people don't know like concussions you can't necessarily see on a scan.
Yeah.
So that was a interesting point they were asking about and kind of how they tell or kind of the symptoms where some people think you're automatically lose consciousness, which isn't always the case. So a lot of those kind of questions were they were asking more about the severe ones. If some of them had concussion, so they were asking about there's long-term effects and kind of stuff like that. They just have never really been taught about it, but a few of them already had experienced some in sports. So it's good to talk to them about that.
So I guess we'll go back to your podcast. So how often do you do it, and what would you like? How many would you like to do, and who would you like to talk to?
Yeah, so I've done 7 or 8 so far. I think I've posted 4. I don't really have a set schedule for it yet. I just kind of reach out
Yeah,
to some people I think that are cool in the area in the field that researching it a lot or treating it. Um, and I'm not really sure yet how far I want to take it, but it's cool to meet people that are in the field researching it or treat concussion patients and kind of see all the different views there are and how it's grown over the years.
that's what I found a lot. It's just
Yeah,
interesting to just meet people and find out
yeah,
their like the research, also their take on it, or what they think of the whole, like, everyone getting scared of it, or people nobody getting scared of it, or nobody being concerned about it, or everybody being concerned about it, and the different levels of how what they think. So if you
yeah.
found anybody that's give me not name names or anything, but I mean anything surprising that you've heard from people that you didn't expect from the person. Say I don't know. I'm not going to say an example because I'm not going to want to risk anybody being talking about them. But yeah,
Yeah,
any
no, there's been a lot of cool stuff I've learned through it so far. Just a couple of researchers going through different routes. Like cool topic that talked to someone about was biomarkers, which is just like blood
yeah.
tests, saliva tests for trying to diagnose concussions, which there's nothing for it yet on the market. But a doctor I talked to at University of Calgary is into that type of research, and it's really cool to see kind of how they go with that and what they kind of think the future is with that. And also just the doctors that have been there for years and years and seen the progression of how concussions are diagnosed, treated, um, and how athletes are being educated on it. So it's cool to see just kind of the progression and how much it's grown. People really
Are
accept it now.
they generally happy about the direction or impressed with the direction it's going, or are they thinking it's business it's slow, or it's
Yeah, I think they're happy with it. I think it's um, probably concussion is behind in other injuries, obviously, because like we said, there's no scans for it and anything like that.
yeah.
But no, I think they are happy with it. And I even noticed it myself with my peers who I played hockey with, how people really accept concussions now and are more educated on it and realize the severity of it and that they should be cautious of them.
Speaking of neuroscience, not neuroscience, but biomarkers, actually, I think podcast number like the maybe 8 or 10 or something, it was low. The one, so this is 146 now. Um, so I talked actually interviewed Jeff Brooks, who is the Concussion Canada
Mhm.
Foundation chapter for the University for students from this. So he did a bunch of research on. He did a master's degree and did a bunch of research on talking to him about. I was talking to him while I was doing his master's about biomarkers and stuff there at Western. So he would be interesting to talk to, or he'll have a different take on it, or I don't know. Yeah. So
Yeah, I haven't talked to him, but it's a really cool topic, the biomarker area.
yeah. Do you
Um,
say that in your class at all?
I don't in my classes yet, but I'd be interested in doing it postgraduate just because it is a cool topic and probably
Yeah.
somewhere where eventually it'll get to market probably. And but it's really cool just to see the research on it.
I haven't interviewed about biomarkers separate in Japanese and the last ones, but that is it. Is that it's a cool idea that you can get some marker in your blood that will tell you. If,
Yeah.
how far along is that now? Do you think?
I'm not sure at all really. I don't know much about it other than talking to a few people that have researched
Yeah,
it, but um hopefully eventually they can get there one day. You see it with other things just like diabetics with the quicker blood tests now and
yeah.
growing other fields. So hopefully one day they can get there and help a more objective test than just reporting of symptoms. So hopefully one day it'd be really cool to see that.
I guess they have to find out what kind of chemical they release in the brain
Yeah.
and that whole cushion, so they can know what's in the bloodstream. But yeah. So the presentations again. That's where we get back to the presentations a bit now. Kind of going back and forth here, but so you said you've done one. You hope you get more, or you have one lined up.
Yeah, we already have more set up. We've got another one in a couple days on we have one on Tuesday out here. So it's again with some grade eights, I believe. So it's good to kind of talk to them too. Lots of them are into sports of many kinds, so it's good to kind of talk to them about an injury that they have. A lot of them have heard of it, but don't really know what it's
Yeah,
truly about. So it's good to let them know what kind of symptoms there are, what signs there are, so they can recognize it in themselves or recognize it in their friends. Because I mean, personally, I remember I think I've had probably a couple of concussions when I was that age, but just didn't really know what they were and didn't know what to look for.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
good to educate them and just have them aware of what concussions are.
So I know, and you said the grade eight, so you don't. It sounds like we mostly did, I guess, that age, and but so what do you find there? I mean, well, I guess if you can generalize their perception of concussions and what it means and how serious it. I guess like how serious it is, and yeah,
Yeah, I think a lot of them do know it's serious. I think it seems like a lot of them kind of think of the extreme version of it when they think concussions, where maybe anybody really could think of that too. But there is just smaller bumps where people can have prolonged headaches and stuff like that. So I think that's also important. Let them know is you don't need to get knocked out or lose consciousness to have a concussion. There's a lot
that
of
must
different ways you
that
can
must
get
be
one,
not
different
must be
symptoms.
a cost. They don't get me dead knocked out because I know when I was younger, which is longer than you, but I mean it was a not getting knocked out was like just getting knocked, just brush off. But like getting knocked out was everyone knew it was pretty serious, but they didn't really know the
Yeah,
consequences of it.
yeah, I know. I think like in the presentations, I talked to them about how in like the NHL now there's concussion spotters just for hits they think could be a risk of concussion. So it's important. I think important to tell them, show them that too, where these pro athletes that they're watching and stuff also treat concussion seriously. So if they feel they have symptoms or see their friends with them, it's important to let somebody know and make sure they're not um, risking making it worse.
So in your presentation, you actually discussed what a concussion is and how you can get them. What else do you teach kids about?
So that we kind of like take a three-step approach. We talk about like kind of what a concussion is, the signs and symptoms, and we also talk a bit about what actually happens. So like your brain hitting inside your skull and it can shake back and forth and it can kind of injure a bunch of areas and talk about a bit of the surface level science stuff like the neurons being injured, and
Yeah,
that kind of is what causes all your symptoms, where it can really be there's no such symptoms for concussion. So we talk about that, how some people can be dizzy, some people can have headaches, some people can have trouble talking. There's tons of different symptoms that can arise. So it's important to kind of teach them that there's many different symptoms. There's not a one size fits all where if you have a concussion, you're guaranteed to have this symptom. I mean, then the last kind of part of it, we talk about different athletes or different people in the world that they may know who have had concussions. Like I said, Sidney Crosby, where it kind of he really increased the discussion around it
especially
and
in
kind of
hockey.
showed, yeah, exactly. A lot of them know who he is, obviously, and
Yeah,
a lot of people are hockey fans, so it's um, I think they resonate with that a little more and are able to understand like this top hockey player in the world and ever in the world is um, experienced concussions pretty severely, and he treated it properly and took the time off he needed, which is what
yeah.
everyone should do.
That must be that because that's an important part that people probably, especially grade eight and 13, 14 years old, they do all the time right edge on the whole like CTE, which I'm sure you don't discuss yet. That's pretty bit too far ahead of future for them, for the kids, but me do. But yeah, just the idea that because well, even though he's like he could have been just like amazing, just been ridiculously prolific, but and he was ridiculously prolific, but even more so in this. And the fact that he treated the right people, they see that and think kids especially see that and think that oh he could just if he just ignored it, he'd been playing for everyone. But you gotta realize that it's hard to get across to kids that the effects will catch up with you, and it's not like it's not if, it's not maybe. It's a plain and that there's life after hockey. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Sorry, oh sorry, I think I say this. Um, yeah. So when you were playing juniors, junior hockey in Western Canada, was there anything then towards condition protocols or
Yeah, there's definitely a protocol. Even when I was playing minor hockey growing up, there's the preseason concussion baseline testing, and then if you're deemed a concussion or you think you might, you do the testing again. So I was really fortunate when I was out playing in Western Canada, when I had concussions, my team and coaches really understood it well and were very open to letting me take my time off to make sure I get better and
It seems like
allow me to see.
they do a good job taking time off
Yeah,
away from it, but also and yeah, and I was gonna ask you about something else, but I forget now because we're doing this kind of live, but not really. But but what was I gonna say? I don't want to waste time. Just just dead air. So I'm just keep talking, but I'll eventually gonna answer that question, but yeah, we can't think of it now. So we're just gonna I'll leave this all in because I don't like editing and stuff. So
for sure.
all this stuff with the down by me just rambling on. The little left in, so poor people can listen to this one, but sorry about that.
No
Um,
worries.
but so what do you hope to get from the river? But do you hope just these schools now, or do you hope to get to other groups of kids like sports teams or even your age or
Yeah.
university age or I don't know if you go up that you go to 18, right? Is there an age limit that
No, I don't believe so. I think all the above. I think hopefully we can reach out to some sports teams in the Halifax area and even some of the university teams. Um, I think it seems like everyone's becoming more educated on it, but it never hurts to see kind of all the ins and outs of it that we can present to them and show them. So yeah, it'd be great to get some high schools, some older kids, and then some minor hockey teams around here maybe, or minor sports teams, and even some of the DAL teams, hopefully.
I just thought what I want to ask you about was the baseline testing. How do you feel about that? Do you feel it's important, or do you think it's, or do you think, or have you talked to anybody who thinks it's important or not important, or just good but not necessary, or what?
Yeah, I think it's definitely important. It's good to have everyone kind of see where they're at when they're healthy, and then see what does change so it can help them treat specific symptoms where maybe it's memory, maybe it's balance, stuff like that. Um, Hopefully it can, I guess, anywhere concussions where it's a lot more reporting of symptoms or subjective, or hopefully they can get to a point where it's more measurable and more specific where people can't kind of cheat it as much, but it's still important to do. I think everyone that I've talked to thinks it's important to do. Some of the doctors I talked to in my podcast also agree there's a few different baseline tests that they use, but it's definitely important to do something so they can compare it to when you are injured or think you may be injured.
So did you find not necessarily in your team, but did you find that in the Western Hockey League when you're in Western Canada playing junior hockey? Do you find that people were sorry? Do you find people were cheating the system or cheating the test, like kind of flunking, not flunking, but going lower
Yeah.
the test so they could play longer?
I never really experienced it too much when through my teams or anything like that, but I know it was when I was younger as a kid, most people probably didn't when we were 12, 13, 14, didn't really think it was as important as it is now. But no, I think everyone's really understanding now that it is important to um, not cheat anything like that, just to try to play the game where you can't risk your health for that. So no, I
Yeah.
think the narrative's changing a lot now, so that's good to see.
So I guess finally, so you're the third year in neuroscience now. You're in your second term of third year. So what do you have any plans for the future for your graduate or whatever
Yeah,
post your undergraduate degree in
yeah.
neuroscience?
I'm hoping to kind of stay in the concussion world a bit, whether it's maybe a master's. I'm hoping to go to medical school too eventually. So, but I also be interested in doing some sort of research, whether it's a master's, something like that, revolved around concussions, because I'm very interested in that. So I'd like to stay in that area if I can.
Yeah, I guess in third year still a lot to learn in fourth year too. But do you find certain areas say that you now you're saying I know probably changed, but you mean thinking that if we except for biomarkers or biomarkers the area that you most like to study or do you have another area?
I think that's a big interest of mine. I'm not really set on one area. I'm kind of interested in all of them, just
Yeah.
like treatment as well. And when I had my concussions, I was treated by a doctor in Kingston that really helped me. And it's, I think, important for people to realize there's tons of different types of treatment they can get with a concussion. So I'm interested in that area too, just to see how everyone can kind of get better quick and not sustain any effects and just kind of optimize everything around concussions.
And physiotherapy too, which is
Yeah.
also available at Dalhousie. I know because I did a presentation there back
Yeah.
in 2016,
Nice.
maybe. At the physiotherapy, so I was just talking about my own injury. Just was more about it's about my podcast, more about necessarily about teaching about concussions. But
Yeah.
yeah. But so you when you said you have on Tuesday, you have another presentation kind of for a concussion legacy foundation group for you.
Yeah.
How many of you are going to this school?
So we have
You're-
yeah, one on Tuesday. We'll have a couple of presentations at the school then, so a couple of different classes, and yeah, so it's a PowerPoint presentation that the Concussion Legacy Foundation already has made for us, and then they
Nice.
trained us for it, and yeah, so it's good to have the same presentation over and over, so we can kind of make sure we're sharp on it ourselves, and also just keep relaying the same messages to the younger generations.
Do you tell them to listen to your podcast? Or do
I
you
haven't. Maybe I should though.
You should
Yeah.
ask it because they can. But
Yeah.
so I guess now. So speaking of your podcast, where can people find it and find the Concussion Canada, Concussion Legacy in Canada, and your
Yeah.
podcast and all your stuff, the great stuff that Dalhousie is doing for concussion, and you are as well.
Thanks. Yeah. So it's called the Untangled Podcast, and it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts under the Untangled Podcast name. So yeah, and then that's where everyone can find it. So,
And concussion, and how can they get hold of you at Dal?
yeah. So Dell, we're most of them other chapters as well are on Instagram under Concussion Can, and then at Dell. So
Yeah.
they can kind of find us there, and then also reaching out to the Concussion Legacy Foundation Canada chapter. Edie does a great job at running that, so she's great to work with too.
Yeah, we have a position ED for our group from Memorial University here, which most of the volunteers are from there, so really good. But yeah, so people are at Dal. They want this, they now hear this podcast or hear yours, hopefully. Well, how do they reach you? How do they get hold of you to be part of this Concussion Canada? What is
Yeah,
just
so
Instagram or?
yeah, most of them on Instagram where reach out through there or my email. Some it's been through others that are on the chapter as well. Just their peers and friends are interested. We're hopefully want to get involved in the Halifax as a Brain Awareness Week in March. So we're hoping to get involved in that a bit too, to kind of get out there a bit and let everyone know what we are standing for, I guess, and kind of keep educating people and about what we're doing.
Have you? I had on a podcast in 2 years ago now. 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Yes. Chloe Luckett, who is the brain injury Nova Scotia, and she does the yoga, love brain yoga program. So you want to get in touch with her. But yes, in the meantime, this Untangled podcast, I think it's great for Dalhousie students, especially, and anybody listen to, but people are Dal or Halifax. Listen to this, you get a not a local in Kingston, but locally produced and hosted podcast. And listen to that one, and also the Concussion Canada Foundation, Legacy Foundation Canada. If you're let's say a principal, or I'm not sure how they're allowed, teachers are, I'm not sure how the permissions invite people to schools, but say if you're principal, sure you must be able to invite people in. So yeah, the Concussion Canada Legacy Foundation Canada Dalhousie group is around to give great presentations. So thank you, Mac, and please check out the Untangled podcast. And is there a web page that or just
there's that, and there's the Instagram page also at the Untangled Podcast. So yeah, if people want to check that out, yeah.
Look that up. Thank you so much, Mac. Thanks for joining me. And stick around for a second. I'll say goodbye after I stop this podcast. So
Awesome.
thank
Thanks
you.
for having me, Nick. Yeah, thanks, Nick.